Hi all, this is Xander. For most of my life, I've lived inside a story I didn't write. It was a story told by my parents and acted out by my three brothers. A story where I was the background character, the punchline, the one who didn't quite belong. A story where my pain was a joke, my needs were an inconvenience, and my very place in the family was a subject of myth. For decades, I thought this was just my family. But what I've come to understand is that I've been living in a classic narcissistic family system, trapped in the role of the invisible child, with my brothers serving as the devoted enforcers of that role. Today, I'm going to walk you through the 8 painful dynamics that defined this dysfunctional family system. This isn't just about airing old wounds. This is about tracing the blueprint of a narcissistic family so we can understand how the architecture of neglect is built. And it's about the journey of letting go and learning what it means to finally place your hurts in the hands of the God who sees you. Part 1. The foundational myth. They rewrote my origin story. My brothers, let's just call them Mitchell, Graham, and Chad, didn't just see me as a lesser sibling, they actively created a mythology around my existence. For years, they told people a funny story, that they were skiing one day. They came down the hill to the lodge, ran over my head with their skis, found me in a snow puddle, and brought me home out of pity. This wasn't just a one-off joke. This was a deliberate, repeating narrative designed to establish that I was not truly one of them. I was an outsider, a damaged object of their charity from the very beginning. Number 2. Early dehumanization. My pain is their entertainment. The dehumanization started in childhood. Another story they loved to tell was about them dropping golf balls on my head when I was a baby in my playpen, claiming that I liked it. This is a sobering revelation. They were taught that my body was not worthy of protection, my pain was not real, and my distress was a source of their amusement. This set the stage for a lifetime of dismissing my suffering, which they're doing right now. Number 3, the parental blueprint enablers are following orders. I used to think my brothers came up with this cruelty on their own. Now I see they were simply following the blueprint laid out by our parents. My parents were the ones who implicitly and explicitly labeled me as other and unimportant. My brothers, as the enablers, absorbed this message and became the active executors of that narrative and agenda, extending my parents' abuse into the present day. It's still going on. Number 4, the imbalance of effort. I am the planetary servant. In this dysfunctional system, the invisible child is expected to do all the work. After our mother's death, I was expected to drop my life, spend money I didn't have, and travel to see them. The idea that Mitchell, Graham, or Chad might make the effort to visit my home to support me in my grief was unthinkable to them. The hierarchy was clear. I orbited them, they did not orbit me. Number 5, the dismissal of crisis. My emergencies are an inconvenience. When the golf ball baby has a real crisis, the system short circuits. When I drove myself to the ER in February 2024, dehydrated and nearly passing out behind the car, and told Chad, his response was a dismissive, nah. When I was in a severe flare of ankylosing spondylitis and explicitly told two of them, I called two of them on the phone and told them that I was in trouble, it was as if I hadn't spoken. They didn't hear it. My real adult pain could not compute against their childhood programming that my pain was a joke. Number 6, the ultimate erasure. I am a non-person on their map. The most blatant act of erasure came when one brother recently attended a wedding in my state of Florida and didn't even call or visit. He was in my area and actively chose to treat me as if I did not exist. This was the snow puddle myth in action. Why would you visit someone who isn't really your sister? I was a non-entity unworthy of the smallest detour. Number 7, the unwritten contract. They demand loyalty they won't reciprocate. My enabling brothers operate on a brutal, one-sided contract. They expect me to treat them with the importance and loyalty befitting their roles as my rescuers from that mythical snow puddle. However, the contract has no clause for reciprocity. They feel entitled to my energy, my empathy, and my presence, while offering nothing but neglect and criticism in return. It is a vacuum designed to drain you, built by my mother. Number 8, breaking the chain. I reclaim my reality by rejecting their myth. Healing begins when you shatter their mythology. I am not the girl from the snow puddle. I am not the baby who liked golf balls. I am a real person whose pain is valid and whose worth is inherent. I have broken the chain by withdrawing my unreciprocated effort, grieving the brothers I should have had, and refusing to be a character in their cruel story any longer. By telling my truth, I have reclaimed my reality and my visibility. So to my brothers Mitchell, Graham, and Chad, I have carried the weight of your neglect, your demeaning stories, and your dismissal for a lifetime. I have fought to be seen, to be heard, to be believed. But I am laying that fight down now. I am no longer your judge or your jury. I am placing you gently and finally into the hands of God. And I have come to learn that to be left in the hands of the God who sees me is a far more frightening and sobering thing than any anger that I could ever muster against you. It is a solemn thing to finally step back and let God do what only God can do. And in that space, I find my freedom and my peace. Thank you for listening. God bless. Bye-bye.